traditional charging stations are a high investment item.
Yeah.
With expensive equipment and also expensive to build.
I read that some estimates actually are telling us that we will need over 50 million public chargers globally by 2040 to meet demand.
I don't know if you know this. In the United States, our electricity infrastructure is 100 years old. Okay.
Wow. I wonder if AI and data analytics, what is the role that they will play in optimizing where these chargers are located? What else can we use AI and data for your services?
I hope in 25 years from now, people's mindset on EV charging will change. I think we will have enough education and enough experience with the whole population that in 25 years, people feel electric vehicle is just part of life.
Welcome to the Tech4Sight Podcast, where we explore how technology is shaping the future of industries, mobility, and human impact. I am your host, Diana Daniels, founder of Kronos Group, working in the intersection of telecommunications, blockchain, and digital inclusion. I gotta confess that I'm super obsessed with technology and its social impact, and my passion is to make a difference in the way that we all connect, exploring how emerging technologies can transform the way that we communicate, move, and power the world. And today's Tech4Sight episode, we will talk about rethinking the grid. Can mobile charging and fixed and energy stations? In a recent episode, we discussed how EV adoption is expected to hit 40% of the new car sales by 2030. Yet, one of the biggest hurdles remains charging infrastructure. More EVs on the road won't mean much if charging isn't accessible, fast, and scalable. And while governments and automakers are investing heavily in fixed charging stations, there's a growing belief that traditional infrastructure alone won't be enough to support this mass EV adoption. And for this reason, we have invited today Susan Linwood, which is the CEO and founder of ChargePodX, a startup that is tackling this challenge with mobile EV charging. Before launching ChargePodX, Susan spent over a decade in renewable energy industry, leading large-scale infrastructure projects and working with both private investors and government agencies to accelerate the transition to clean energy. With a background in engineering and business, she's now bringing that expertise to the EV space, building a solution that could redefine how we think about charging. Thank you, Susan, for taking on the challenge of sharing your bold vision for the future with us here on the Tech4Sight Podcast.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Diana. Thank you.
Well, we've talked about the EV adoption, as I said, hitting 40% of the new car sales by 2030. But that number doesn't mean that much if we don't solve the infrastructure puzzle. I read that some estimates actually are telling us that we will need over 50 million public chargers globally by 2040 to meet demand. Yet today, we are nowhere close to that number. Tell us, Susan, that's where I believe that your ChargePodX comes. What can you tell us about your solution and how mobile charging changes these economics on EV infrastructure?
As I am based in Silicon Valley, California, in the United States, and you are based in Europe, you probably see a lot of EV adoptions, and EV adoption in Europe is actually faster than majority of the United States. Infrastructure is a very important, integral part of EV adoption. ChargePodX came in two folds. Number one is traditional charging stations are a high investment item.
Yeah.
With expensive equipment and also expensive to build. The trenching, the digging, the whole process of construction, that takes 9 to 24 months.
Wow.
Anywhere on average, and that's an industry number. So, and also the permitting, the construction, the total process. So ChargePodX with our mobile pop-up, ready to go solution, our equipment is ready to go within 1 business day.
Wow.
Certified electrician, we're ready to go. So 1 year on average versus 1 day. As a client, what would you choose? What to go, right? That's number 1. So eliminating that time and cost. The cost of construction, the permitting, the whole, and the time. Time is money. That's at least 2 to 3 times more than if someone adopt our solution, which is ready to go. Our equipment still costs equivalent to the market high power cabinet. However, we made the construction cost. We eliminate the time. So our economics is very obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, and to help further the EV adoption is, I don't know if you know this, in United States, our electricity infrastructure is 100 years old. Okay.
Wow.
So the infrastructure in the United States was largely built in 1920s. So we are talking about 100 years old. So the infrastructure was not designed to accommodate electric vehicle. It's old. It's lower power, and generally 80% of U.S. business and home, almost 99% of U.S. home and 80% of U.S. business only have the lower infrastructure.
Yeah.
Lower voltage available on site. And majority of the bigger power cabinet chargers that you see by the highway station need higher power infrastructure. And by that's a bottleneck. It's a total bottleneck.
Yeah.
So our technology, our equipment utilize the 80%. We tap into the 80% of the market. We utilize the 80% of the infrastructure already readily available. Because to change from lower to higher, you need a new transformer. People just wait for the utility company to bring a new transformer, to bring the new cable, and that construction takes a year.
Forever.
At this moment, a new transformer takes 9 months to purchase and wait in the waiting list. That's 9 months from the get-go. You haven't even started the rest of the process. Again, what do you choose? 1 day or 1 year?
No, totally 1 day. Totally 1 day.
Start 1 day. So you talk about our technology directly hook into your existing electric panel. We do not have battery in our equipment. The reason we don't have battery is because that's a conscious decision, a business model decision that we decide to hook into electric panel, or in a remote area, we are okay. We are still supportive for our clients if they need to hook with a generator. And that is okay. If needed, whatever is needed, it's needed. We are supported. We can work.
So let's break this down, because most people think that EV charging as either home chargers or fixed stations. But if I'm understanding correctly, mobile charging changed that equation entirely. Instead of drivers planning their routes around charging points, the charging comes to them. I believe that this opens a lot of possibilities.
Our charger, I will call it a semi-permanent charger.
Okay.
So It's not that movable, like a AAA roadside assistant. That would be awesome. But with a AAA roadside assistant, the charger needs to have a battery. It at least have a smaller battery to make it movable. Our is a pop-up semi-permanent solution. So we are the best, and that's why our market segment is mostly the fleet, the commercial, the commercial parking lot that is an older parking lot that is sometimes 50 years old or even 80 years old parking lot that doesn't have the high power, only have the lower power. We can serve their fleet. So that's our ideal business model.
I like that. So if we say this, yes.
Mm-hmm. It could be a city fleet, a municipality fleet, a transit bus, a Amazon, a UPS, a delivery, last mile delivery, particularly. So that those are our ideal customers. And
this is great because we need to start from somewhere, right? I believe that some estimates already telling us that at least 1 in 3 vehicles on the road are going to be electric by 2040. And with that scale, what is the size of this market? And I'm thinking that this niche solution that you're providing for the corporates or the fleets, I hope that it can become mainstream by when, do you think?
Oh, Diane, I want to clarify. My solution is not a AAA roadside. And a lot of people think it is. It still needs to hook into a panel. So our ideal customers are fleet and commercial. And part of the reason that I don't think home adoption of our solution would be happening very soon is because it's still a high price equipment. And majority of homeowners probably does not need to have that high power and want to spend that kind of money, because majority of homeowners, they will stay overnight in their home and they can charge slower.
So the question might be, is what does it need to be movable? What would you need, if we think about the future? What do we need to make this movable instead of having, I would love the idea of having like a movable charging station with you.
Yeah, the reason that we find, of course, being in this industry and because our company's name, people always think we have the battery, but the reason that we didn't go to the charger with battery, the mobile charger with battery route is number one, like I said, with a battery, the charger will become very heavy. And it's not easy to movable. And then it became the user case application changes. Like truly, how people utilize it changes. Number one. Number two is electric vehicle. I don't know if you drive an electric vehicle or not. Do you?
No, I actually don't have a car. I'm zero footprint. We stopped having a car when we moved to Europe.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So the interesting thing about electric vehicle is it is heavily computerized. Everything. So the route is calculated. The electricity that the car still have, the battery that the car can still go, like how many miles, is heavily calculated. So when your vehicle is running out of the juice, running out of the battery, the electric vehicle will find every possible way to tell you are running out of electricity. Go to charge immediately. So unlike the traditional gasoline car, you sort of, it still flashes, like the light still blinks and get on, and you still have a warning sign, right? However, you sometimes might have a different, you might, the estimation might be off, right? One way or the other. It could be just like electric vehicle too. But electric vehicle will tell you, scream in your face. The whole screen will flash that go to your nearest station and they will find you the nearest station because all the smart functions. So we find very rarely electric vehicle drivers truly run out of juice on the roadside. There are much less chance that electric vehicle drivers truly run out of a battery.
So
The,
how
the
ChargePodX
situation,
work?
but it does sometimes. The only time that it does is if you are at a more touristy location, more mountainous location, and a winter location, and people are out of town, and people are usually less familiarized with the road, and the estimation might often could be off. But generally speaking, in a more popularized metro area, the situation just really come up. Actually,
I understand. So then ChargePodX, how does it really work? Because I understand that it's mainly for corporate fleets. But then if we take out that it doesn't, it's like a movable station that's going to, how does it work? Let's get rid of it.
how it works is we bring in the equipment. It's on the wheels. You just saw the picture.
Yeah.
And it's either on the wheels or it's wall mounted. And we hook to the electric panel with a certified electrician, half day of work, a couple of hours of work. Then you're ready to go. And because it is on the wheels, it's considered a temporary solution. So again, number one, it doesn't need construction with all the trenching and the construction. Number two is doesn't need permitting because it's considered a temporary solution. Now,
so it basically accelerates the creation of these charging stations rather than
accelerate the creation of the charging. And then also because in our humble opinion, our equipment is good for 8 years to 10 years, which is equivalent to the lifespan of a high power cabinet solution. So people think we're temporary. However, we don't have to be the temporary. We really can be the permanent solution.
If we could reach a point where the EV driver doesn't even need to request that charge, you were speaking that then it's telling you, you need to charge. I wonder if AI and data analytics, what is the role that they will play in optimizing where these chargers are located? What else can we use AI and data for your services?
Absolutely. So a couple AI angles that now that we are, of course, I'm based in Silicon Valley. AI is everywhere, right? And there are at least two places we can utilize AI. Number one is, like you said, to analyze where is the best place to build the next supercharging station for our customers, and that is usually analytical on traffic pattern, our population, electric vehicle owner population, and percentage. For example, in California, where I am in Bay Area, more than 50% of passenger new car sales are Tesla. So by Tesla, it's just one Tesla, and that's not counting other electric vehicles. Even so that EV adoption is very high, and so where's the most optimal place to put on the superchargings based on utility electricity availabilities as well. That's a huge plays a huge role. So AI can definitely come in. I've got partners working that space for sure. Another space that you may or may not know is electric supercharging stations, particularly public supercharging stations, get a vandalism problem quite a bit. So, cable cutting, people just, do all kinds of funky things there. So, one of my partners is working on an AI-driven camera. So
Okay.
it is expensive to hire somebody to be on site or remotely watching the monitoring system
Uh-huh.
24/7. That of course is expensive. However, if we have an AI camera to monitor the site, each site, 4 cameras cover the whole premises, and that AI camera will analyze the image 24/7. So for example, if there's a people, let's say, if there's a people who doesn't own an electric vehicle, but with a huge scissor present. So with all these matrix, then the chances this person is there to cut the cable is high. And that will alert my analyst. So my analyst, instead of one analyst can cover 10 monitors at one time, one analyst can really cover 1,000 cameras at one time. And truly, when that camera system, that specific camera system, see a very suspicious algorithm-wise, very suspicious situation, it will bring to a real people's attention and analyze that situation. And also, even before the analyst really jump in, if the analytical algorithm is 95% likely to have adverse situation, like I just described, our camera can talk about. Our camera already alert and have a voice and have a beeping alerting system that almost like, when people, and people get scared, because all of a sudden on site, there's a strong voice and a strong siren on already, 90% of time, the people, the criminal went, oh, what's going on, right? Like people will alert. And
That's
then
a fascinating point. Yeah.
and the analysis will, of course, based on the situation, alert the local police station. And our statistic says that with this AI, the total AI system, the protection of the public charging station is 95% stronger than the public station that does not have that whole AI system. So yes, AI can definitely play a strong role. I just described how AI can.
Yeah, that's super interesting, and I guess that thinking about that, the main reason most of the governments and or cities are pushing for EVs in the first place is obviously sustainability. But being honest, EV charging is completely green jet, I believe, right? And I want to share with you and our audience. I was recently at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And while global leaders were pushing for sustainability and the transition to EVs, well, in theory, in there, the vehicles are being pushed to be EVs. They're supposed to be electric. But the irony is that many of those EV charging stations, they ran out of juice, and they were actually powered by diesel generators. So this is a very clear example how the EV adoption, I believe, is outspacing the infrastructure needed to truly make it sustainable. And it's believed it's not just enough to put more EVs on the road. We really need, smarter, cleaner, and scalable solutions that can power them. So if we think about this, with this paradox that I just gave you, what is your vision in making solution like the one that you're providing to be more sustainable? What does it need to happen?
So we have a partnership with a hydrogen generating company. So we are in a pilot project with a hydrogen generation they bring the generator and we bring the charger. We are working on the next generation of the power. So there are, like you said, there are still many cases that is middle of nowhere or it's a large event. It's a large event that, um, it's just the demand is so high that the regular infrastructure just would not support it. So it happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
We actually tapped into LA Olympics 2028,
Okay.
and we proposed our solution was LA Olympics 2028, wanting to be part of the larger solution, just like Olympics. So um, so again, we want to tap into the infrastructure, the current infrastructure, and we utilize the current infrastructure, not the add-on, not the upgraded, not the future. We can tap into the 80% of the majority of what we already have. That's ChargePodX is helping. And then also we're working with all kinds of hydrogen generations, all kinds of other solutions. So I think ChargePodX want to be part of the sustainability revolution because we are constantly updating our technology and being the forefront of how we can help with the total equation. It takes a village, right? The total sustainability, it takes the whole globe to think about all kinds of solutions. There are many things to do, and we are glad to be part of the conversation, a part of the solution.
I love this. It takes a village indeed, and if I can get you to think a little bit beyond ChargePodX, and let's talk about the future of energy sources for EV charging. Right now, I guess that the biggest push is for solar power charging, but scaling it comes with this efficiency and storage challenges. And I guess that while some people might believe that the next generation of energy is nuclear energy, I guess that it's more
Very small reactor.
exactly right. What do you think that it could be the real game changer for sustainable high capacity charging, especially? Where do you see this future going beyond what you're doing right now with your startup? Where do you see this happening? And let's adventure into that place.
Of course. So I was very honored to be part of Stanford Executive Program last year. And Diane, I believe that you were part of the Stanford Executive Program a couple of years ago. So during my cohort, I was able to bring in all the sustainability, energy classmates together. We had lunch together. We also have a presentation, clean energy evening that different classmates all together present. And one of the classmates is the largest nuclear reactors manager. United States largest nuclear reactors manager. And he's very he taught me a lot about the future of nuclear. So I do think there's definitely a safe and clean way to do nuclear. At the same time, in solar, I have a lot of hopes as well. The solar, the wind, the 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 hydro, and also there's the wave, right? The ocean wave also.
Yes.
So a lot of opportunities there as well.
And maybe for the context of our audience, I want to tell them that right now, 10% of the world's electricity accounts in some places like France, it accounts for nuclear power,
Yes.
In France, 70% of the day, yes, their nuclear, solar adoption is growing rapidly, but it still only provides like 4% of the global electricity. So with this in mind, do you see a future where EVs are powered more by nuclear, solar, or a combination of multiple energy sources? What do you think?
AC EV will be powered by a multiple. It has to be a multiple solution. Well, at this moment, EV is taking electricity AI is taking a lot of electricity, right? So the demands are in United States. The grid needs to grow 4 times more in the next 20 years to accommodate all AI and EV solution, EV needs. Now, of course, AI, people are designing new chips, constantly designing new solutions to lower the energy cost. I'm really happy to see a lot of technology um, uh, technology innovations there as well. EV, we are constantly adopting newer technologies, particularly in battery space. I am very hopeful that a new generation of battery will come out in the next 3 years. More higher efficiency, lower in terms of the weight, so that it's more efficient for the vehicles, particularly in the heavy trucks, to adopt in the electric vehicle space. So I'm very hopeful in that space as well. And also, I want to share that there are off-grid, there are many solutions as well. I have a partner that work in off-grid mobile capsule homes.
Nice.
Mobile capsule homes that would be great to adopt either in the remote area for Airbnb or a remote area for mobile homes for people to live.
That's nice.
Yes, and I work with Indian tribes, more like in remote area. Yes, and
Very cool.
and just the possibility is infinite. Now with the roof, with solar panel, it the capsule itself is very smart. It's controlled blind with on the control lighting, the smart lighting, the smart blinds, and also you can charge the water heater, the vehicle on site. Just the possibility is infinite. So I think just the trend is infinite.
I love this because it gives us a perfect framing for our next section of the podcast, where we are looking to see at the big picture. And I love it because it allows us to go from today to the future, and more specifically, shaping the future of mobility and EV infrastructure. So I'm going to ask you 4 major trends that are changing your industry, and then we'll dive into 4 dreams that are going to tell us your vision where you and your company could go. So let's start. Are you ready? Ideally, what we want is to get you to answer to us in one word or one phrase. So we're going to keep it short and active. Ready?
Hey, all right.
Yeah, 4 trends. So what is the biggest tech breakthrough that will change EV charging the next 5 years? We are in 2025. Let's go to think 2030, biggest technological breakthrough.
Battery technology.
The battery technology. I love this. Then what about consumer behavior? What is the biggest shift in how people will use and think about EV charging?
I think it's the charging behavior. A lot more people will learn how electric vehicle works, and just the consumer behavior will change.
I see that happening. As I told you, in Davos, people were asking for electric vehicles. They want an electric vehicle to come and pick me up, but they're not thinking in how it's going to change the charging. So I'm thinking that I'm loving that you're thinking about it.
Yeah, the planning. So to expand that a bit, consumer behavior needs to change because electric vehicle does take more planning, and it does take more preparation. However, just the clean air, the benefit, the health benefit, and also the sustainability benefit is long term. It's for the future. It's for here to stay. I honestly tell you, I drive an electric vehicle, and I'm around with so many electric vehicles. Now that if I'm together with a gasoline car, I'm like, that smells pretty strong. Right? How the difference? Quite because I'm so used to electric vehicles.
Yes, totally. I see this. Then a trend in business and investment. What is the fastest growing new business model in EV charging?
Leasing. So my business, we provide both sales and leasing models. Leasing is the trending business model because it brings cash flow to my business and brings cash flow to my investors. At the same time, I take care of the maintenance and repair of my customers. So my customers have the peace of mind that if I will come in to fix his problem in one day and 48 hours. And also, if not, I'll just swap out my equipment for my.
Do you see a subscription model happening in there?
Absolutely. That's what we do. And that's exactly my business model as well.
Love it, love it. Then the fourth trend that I want us to tackle is regulation and policy. Which policy or government initiative will have the biggest impact on EV adoption?
Okay. So 2025, we of course have a new administration in the US. So a lot of previous incentives are not around anymore. However, this is a time that EV industry needs to stand on our own merit. So take the incentives. What's my true economics of my solution? What's truly the bottom line? I stand strong on the return on investment, what I bring for my clients, because I am such a low cost solution. So my solution actually stand on my own merit in terms of my reliability, my cost, and my reputation. So that in a sense will help the industry to shake up a bit, so that the true solution that truly can stand on their merit will be here to stay. So
I see your solution working beautiful especially for areas like or countries under development that they are needing to upgrade their charging stations. Like
my classmate from Mid East, from Southeast Asia, from Africa, or like reach out to me and say, "Hey, I want to bring your solution to my country. This sounds like a solution." So yeah, I talk a lot. I just last week talked to my Southeast Asian Philippine classmate just last weekend. So
nice. Also, let's gonna push this like into beyond today. Let's gonna go into the future. Let's imagine the future of EVs and the infrastructure of EVs. And if you could design the perfect city for electric mobility, what is that one feature that it should absolutely have?
I think for the future, what absolutely need to have is, I think, the group of people who has a mindset to plan ahead, to be very cognizant, be very aware of what EV takes to help with municipalities, vehicles, to help with the transit bus. I think it takes, I'm living, I guess I'm very fortunate that I'm living in Silicon Valley, that a bunch of people are very forward, progressive in thinking, in really experimenting what's the best, what's the best practice, in and to share those experience with rest of the United States, with rest of the world, what's the best practice. So a city that is highly EV adoption will take both the public sector and the private sector and the private citizens to be able to come together and think very hard about the solution and be prepared, be forward looking, be, forward planning in all those spaces. So I do see it, and I see there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of hopes in this sort of possibilities.
Cross collaboration, I see that. Well, what about a moonshot? A moonshot in probably what it will be that radical, game-changing energy technology that is going to transform the power of the powering of those cities. And you already said batteries, but let's go beyond what it will change from the next, let's say, 10 years from now.
There are two sources I am closely watching. One is in the base of Pacific Ocean, under the Pacific Ocean, there's quite a big space of untapped lithium on the ocean bed. One of my Stanford classmates actually helped to discover and business develop that project. And I think that's fascinating. That's wonderful. And so that resource is something that could be tapped into. And the other, I have hope. I have hope that one day we could go to the moon, and one day we could go to Mars. So there's possibilities on Moon and Mars. That the solar reception on Moon, and also a lighter gravity on Moon, it takes a lot less energy to move around, right? So talking about moonshot, right? So there are a lot of possibilities there.
I love this dreaming game because it truly takes us to different places that we were not necessarily thinking before. So if the EVs charging and the energy grid could become one, let's say one seamless, intelligent system.
Okay.
What do you think that it could look like?
Ideally, I would like to see a seamless, intelligent system that incorporate all kinds of possibilities, including geothermal, including solar, including wind. I'm working with one municipality water plant to incorporate a small solar farm, which is just 1 to 2 acres solar farm, so that it will dramatically cut down their energy costs from the grid, but really kind of off grid. And then from there, we can do battery, we can do battery storage, and also we can do peak shaving from peak during the evening hours versus during the daytime when the sun is up, the solar is generating a lot of electricity. We can also charge electric vehicles and also charge AI data centers through that. So an integrated system that is just general integrated system would be the ideal solution. And I am closely working with a partner on such a system.
Good. I like this. So if we look, our fourth and last frame, if we look 25 years ahead, what is that one thing about EV charging that will completely disappear? 25 years from now.
I hope in 25 years from now, people's mindset on EV charging will change. I think we will have enough education and enough experience with the whole population that in 25 years, people feel electric vehicle is just part of life. Just like this. Think about this. At one point, electricity was not part of people's life. at one point, right? At one point, computer was not part of our people's life. At one point, a smartphone was not people's life. So electric vehicle will be so common in people's life that people just think it's part of life. You never think twice.
But do you think that maybe like the stations will disappear? Because maybe everybody will have their station at home, or the actual batteries will come, or it will be solar, everything. But it will happen in 25 years. We're like 2025. This is, 2050. How does it look like? Let's dare to dream a little bit.
I think the charging solution will be everywhere, and will be multi-layered. I still think it will be a lot of homes will have charging stations, chargers, and public will be so abundant with supercharging stations that you're not worried about charging anymore because it's everywhere. Just like gasoline stations, it's everywhere. So I think that will be, I don't think the supercharging stations will go away in 25 years. It will be here to stay. And of course, it will be a combination of home charging and supercharging and multi-layer. It will be many, many places and with many, many different solutions.
I love your vision of the future, Susan. And you're a founder that has been, putting together an amazing team of very talented people to help you complete your vision. And if I have to ask you, what skills do you think that the next generation needs to succeed in these mobility and energy sectors? What skills do you believe that are so needed?
I think number one is to dream big, because it's such a big industry. You have to have the passion and have the big dreams to be able to see the future, not next year, but 5 years from today, right? So that's number one. Number two is have to have the tenacity and have to have entrepreneurship spirit. It takes people, somebody who is not afraid of failure. It will take a lot of reiteration. We took a lot of times, a lot of reiteration in technology. We took many tries to find the product market fit, and we pivot constantly. So it takes people who are entrepreneurship mindset to be able to work in this. But not everyone has it. But when people have that kind of spirit, please join us. Join us in this wonderful journey.
So if you would have to go back in time when you were 18, what will be that advice that you will give to the young Susan at 18-year-old?
Wow, that's a big question. I would tell 18-year-old Susan to dream even bigger. Do not be afraid to fail. However, be faster to adapt. Be faster to learn from my failure and run faster. I would tell my 18-year-old.
Hi, Susan. I really love this discussion. Has been amazing. Before we go, I would just like to give you the opportunity to see if you want to share a message or advice to other leaders in your industry that can help them prepare for the future. Is there anything you would like to tell them?
ChargePodX has been a steady growing company in the EV space. And I would encourage my colleagues in the industry together with ChargePodX to dream bigger, to stand on our own merit, on our product and service. And we see a brighter future in 5 years, 10 years. 25 years. So let's work hard and work together.
Susan, this conversation has been eye-opening. If there is one thing I've learned today is that the future of EVs is much more than just charging. And so here are my 3 takeaways. Charging is shifting from locations to intelligence. The future is about building more stations. It's about predictive, mobile, and seamless energy access. My takeaway number 2 is that breakthroughs in solar, nuclear, and grid integration that will redefine how EVs are going to be powered in the near future. And my takeaway number 3 is that EVs won't just take us to places. They will store energy, power cities, and reshape entire industries. So that is a wrap up today in the Tech4Sight episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a comment on LinkedIn, YouTube, or listen to us on any of the podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and more. Connect with us on social media and be part of the discussion. I am your host, Diana Daniels, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring how technology is shaping industries today and tomorrow. Until then, please stay foresighted. See you soon.